Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Carmi and today I wanted to show you guys some footage of my Uberhood that I've been working on for a few months now. I mentioned it in a post on my page that I've been working on it and I wanted to make a tour video, and here it is. So let me show you what it's all about. So here is an overview of the main hood, which as you can see is Pleasantview, and the subhoods I have attached are Veronaville, Strangetown and Bluewater Village, along with Kitati's downtown, as well as her remodeled universities, Académie de Tours, La Fiesta Tech and Sim State University. And these are empty, so I don't have any of the dormies or the pre-made sims to limit the amount of sims that are present in this Uberhood, since there are already so many. And I also don't have that many townies as well. I have some townies from Bluewater Village that are connected to household and businesses, and I've added a few from both Strangetown and Pleasantview, mostly the teens and children, because I felt like the Uberhood was missing some of those. But I won't go through all of the households. If you would like to hear more about one in particular, let me know in the comments and I can do a second video on this. But I wanted to just do some honorable mentions of families I think are interesting to hear about. So we can start with the Goth family. In here you can see it's Mortimer and Cassandra with two toddlers, and the toddlers belong to Cassandra, along with her ex-fiancé Florence de la Rosa, who she was meant to marry, but she was left at the altar, which I'm really sad about because I thought they were really nice together. But Cassandra has moved on and is now dating Lola Curious, and they'll probably move in together in the next round. And I'm currently on my fourth round, technically I guess third full round, since the first round is always just one last day of the summer or the first season that you have, and in Pleasantview it's summer. So now it's summer again. That's what's going on with the Goths. Mortimer is currently seeing Olive Spectre, which I will talk a bit more about when we get to Strangetown. Another couple that are interesting is Dirk and Hermia. So Dirk didn't end up with Lilith in college. I wanted to try to couple up sims that are less expectant, just to make use of the fact that it's an Uberhood and there's more interactions that can be made between sims that might not usually meet. Hermia married Dirk and is now Hermia Dreamer instead of Hermia Cap, and they are expecting their first child. And Darren does not have a partner at the moment. I don't know if he ever will settle with anyone, if he will just live his life as a grandpa, you know, being there to support Dirk and his family. He has been seeing Brandy a bit, but I don't want to do the usual Brandy Darren coupling. So we'll see if Darren finds someone else. And then we have the Pleasant household, where Angela married Tank Grunt. Tank is now Tank Pleasant because I wanted to keep the Pleasant name going, since Tank has two brothers that can keep the Grunt family going. I decided to have Tank choose the Pleasant name, and they have a set of twins called Pearl and Ocean, and I named them with this kind of theme based on Angela's bio, where it says something about her wanting to become a sailor or something. And yeah, Daniel and Mary Sue are still together. Mary Sue hasn't caught Daniel cheating anything yet, but we'll see how long they last. But yes, they are still around in the Pleasant house. I'm happy that there are other people than just Daniel and Mary Sue, because they're kind of boring to play on their own. And then we have the Broke household, where Dustin married Ophelia, and they are now called Dustin and Ophelia Nigmos. I wanted to keep her name going, so Dustin took after her, since Dustin also has two other brothers that can keep the Broke name going. So we have Bradley Broke, who is unborn baby Broke, and Bo, as we all know. And Brandy, as I said, has been dating Darren a bit, but she's been seeing Laszlo Curious, who I want to pair her up with. I think they will be cute together. But I think she also had a thing with Abhijit Cho, perhaps. She's just kind of, exploring a little bit right now, but I want her to settle with Laszlo in the future. I think those are the more interesting families. We have also the Lothario household with Dawn. Not much going on there. And we have the Burbs, who have another daughter called Ella, and I think that will be enough children for them. I don't want to have a bunch of same-face children around the neighborhood. Yeah, John and Jennifer are just living their suburban life. And then we have the oldies, who are just same old as usual. They have a little cat called Rue, and they also adopted a son. He is originally a Bluewater Village bounty. His name is Cooper Garth, but now Cooper Oldiden, and he is currently at university. We can move on to Veronaville. So here we have the Cap side, of course, and the Monties, as usual, with the Summer Dreams and an addition over here. We can start with the Cap family, because we have some people to go through here. So we can see Concert in the middle, together with Jody Larson, who he married. And I also brought back Concert's family name, which is Theb. So they are now Concert and Jody Theb. And they have 2 children. They have Paris and Eleanor. And then we have Tybalt here, holding his daughter, I believe, or son. I don't know. Their child, anyway, Tybalt's child with Raynell Ninja. And they're not married yet, but I think they will get married. And then Tybalt will take Raynell's name, since the Caps are a matrilineal family. Tybalt is not going to be the heir, but he's just living in the Cap Manor for now, since that is his family home. And I kind of wanted to bring all the university sims back to their family home if they didn't have anywhere else to go, because I wanted to limit the amount of families I have. I didn't want to add a bunch of single sim households, so that's kind of what I did. And then we have the main Monty house, the Monty Ranch, and here you can see that Juliet has landed. She's married to Romeo, and I did mention that I wanted to find more unique couples, but in this case I kind of didn't have any other romantic prospects in mind, and since Romeo and Juliet are so classic, I thought that I guess they can get together. I mean, it doesn't have to mean that they will be together forever. I can see that some things might happen, but they do have another set of twins. I do have a few twins in this Uberhood, actually. They have Viola and Rosalind. And then you can see that Mercutio is also here. He's kind of just living his life. He's not really settled with anyone. I don't know if he will. He's just enjoying his time, I guess. And then we have Isabella and Patricio are still kicking. And they also have a dog called Roden. We can go to the Summer Dream household next. Here we have Titania and Oberon and Puck, who returned from college. He's currently seeing several sims. More notably is Lilith Pleasant, who I hope he will settle with, but it's not sure yet. And then they also have Sullivan over here, who they adopted when he was a child. He is also from Bluewater Village originally. He really fit the Summer Dream family, because they have a lot of redheads and he fit the bill. And he just fit the vibe as well, I think. I think he's a good addition to the family. And Bottom is currently at university. Then we have the rest of the Caps and Monties, and I named them with the first letter of the head of the family. So we have Cap G, which is the Goneril side of the Cap family. And we only have 2 children left in the household. The rest have gone to college and returned and moved somewhere else. And Miranda left, and Hal is currently at college. So we have Goneril, Albany, Desdemona, and Ariel. And then they also, on their own, adopted a dog called Ariel without me controlling, because sometimes when you play other households, and go back to the household, there will be a pop-up saying that the family has adopted the pet and if you want to keep it or not. And so they ended up with the dog Ariel. They also had a cat before that passed away. I don't remember the name, but I guess they like to have animals. And here I have also adjusted the children's genetic faces because basically no one, well, except Miranda, I kept her face, but Hal, Desdemona, and Ariel, I have adjusted their faces a bit to resemble their parents a little bit more. I have done that to a few of the families. Did that with Alexander and Cassandra, Chloe and Lola, and Jill. I think that's it. Might be missing someone, but yeah, that's what I've done. Just a little bit of adjustments, but I wanted to try to keep it true to original Max's as much as possible, but still, you know, make it seem like they are actually their children and the parents belong to them, you know? We have the Cap R family, which is Reagan, of course, and Cornwall, and they have a daughter called Celia, and she will probably be the heir, the next Cap heir. I don't really have a reason for why, but I feel like she would be. I feel like Reagan and Cornwall are very, you know, driven in the business, and I feel like they would want their daughter to be the next heiress. So that's what I have planned, and I think she's a great mix between the two. And yeah, I like this family, even though, well, Cornwall, I guess, is kind of like an ass, but I like their vibe. It's kind of fun. A bit of a retro style. And Kent moved out, and he's currently living with his husband in Bluewater Village, which we will see later. Moving back to the Monty side, we have Monty A, which is Antonio. His twins, Beatrice and Benedict, are currently in college, and he has recently married Nina Caliente. And since I wanted to keep the Caliente name, they are both called Caliente now, so I should actually change the name to Caliente instead of Monty A. So it's Antonio and Nina Caliente, and Nina is expecting their child. And I think I'll keep it to one child because I don't like having too big of an age gap between the children. But since Nina doesn't have a child of her own, I feel like they could have at least one. Then we have the Monty B, who I also should change because Bianca is now married to Crystal Vu, and they're both called Vu. So we have Bianca and Crystal Vu, and they are expecting their child, which I'm very excited to see. And here we have a connection to the medical career. Did I mention that? I think maybe I didn't. But I do have a rule set, which I came up with while playing this neighborhood, that any same-sex couple that has a connection to either the medical or science career can have a biological child, just so I have some kind of logic reason for that. Not that it matters really, but I thought it would be a fun twist. So there is still the option for adoption, but also they have a chance to have a biological child if they have the means to. But yes, that's the Wu family. Then we have Lilith Pleasant over here. She recently moved into Veronaville after finishing college. I thought that it would fit her to be here more than Pleasantview because, you know, she doesn't really get along with her family, and I think she would rather be far away from them. Since she has a really good relationship with Puck, I thought maybe it would be more fitting. She does have a history with Johnny Smith, who she was actually engaged and she was meant to marry him. They did have a wedding at the Smith house, but she left him at the altar. I guess she changed her mind. She wanted to be more free and wasn't ready to settle down with anyone and start a family. So sadly, she left Johnny, and I feel very bad for him, but I also felt like they weren't the best fit for each other anyway. So I guess it was for the best. So yeah. Lilith is seeing other people. I think she's been involved with Puck, Mercutio, maybe someone else. Oh yeah, I think I am planning for her to get involved with Kiernan Triku as well. I think it's Kiernan. So yeah, we'll see. It will be interesting. But yeah, we can go over to Strangetown. So here we have Strangetown, and I can just quickly show you the Smith family since I was recently talking about Johnny. Jill is currently at college, and they have two more siblings. They have Jimmy and Jane, and I think that will be enough for Jenny and Paul. They're both getting older. I mean, Paul has always been an elder ever since you start the neighborhood, but Jenny is also soon close to be an elder, and I don't really want them to have more children, so 4 is enough. I don't have another idea of who Johnny will end up with, but I guess we'll see as time goes on. And then we have the Curious household, where I said that Laszlo and Brandy might get together eventually. Perhaps they will move somewhere else. But for Pascal and Vidkund, I don't really have any plans for them at the moment. Some people like to pair up Pascal and Nervous, which I am one of them originally, but they didn't really have much chemistry or any at all. And I wanted to try something new. So, well, currently Pascal doesn't have anyone, but Nervous, there's another story for him. But they have 2 alien daughters in the family. We have Sosma, who is Pascal's unborn baby, I guess. It's the Tycho of the Curious family. Turned out to be a daughter who I named Sosma based on or inspired by Sammy Sondog. And then we have Cherry, who is Vidkund's daughter. And she really looks like Vidkund, I think. And I think Sosma was really cute with her little glasses that I think she grew up with them when she aged up from a toddler to a child. So I just kept them. And she also grew up in this cute little ballerina outfit. So I guess she's more of a girly girl. And Cherry's, I feel like Vidkund dressed her, decided that she should be very plain and not very fun. I don't know. I have a feeling that Vidkund would be like very controlling and like neat freak and like, no, don't get your clothes dirty, and you need to cut your hair in a specific, like this bowl cut. I don't know. That's my idea for Vidkund. Anyway, talking about Nervous, we have the Spectre household, and here you can see Nervous together with someone you might not recognize. This is a townie from Bluewater Village. Her name is, I think it's Brianna Casper, something like that. But it's now Brianna Spectre, and Nervous is now known as Neon Spectre, which I took from the Sims 4 version of Nervous, because I wanted him to have a proper name. So it's now Neon, and then we have Olive, and I mentioned earlier that Olive and Mortimer, they are seeing each other, but Olive is also seeing John Smith Triku, who lost his wife. So he's not cheating or anything, but I guess Olive is, or, well, she's just dating, having a good time in her old age. I don't know if anything will happen out of that or if I'll just let things be, but that's what's going on in the Spectre household. And I also think Brianna is pregnant, Neon, and Brianna just got married in the last round. And then we have the Singles household, which now is just the Curious sisters, because both Erin and Kristen has moved on to other places. As I mentioned, Lola is together with Cassandra, and she will probably move into the Goth Manor soon, or Goth Mansion, I guess. And Chloe is just being Chloe as a romance sim, seeing guys. I think she's actually bisexual, so if she found a woman that she likes, she would probably be with them as well. But I think I might pair her up with Gilbert Jaquette. He really likes her, and I made him into like a hopeless romantic type of romance sim, but I don't know what Chloe thinks about that, but that's pretty much it. Then we have the Grunt household, which only consists of Rip Grunt at the moment and Miranda Cat and their oopsie baby Jagger Grunt. Oh, he's not doing great. Rotten Rugrat. They also have a little dog called Pucci. Tank, as I said, is moved in with the Pleasants, and Buck, he's currently at university. And Buzz is nowhere to be found because he is dead and buried in Olive's garden. He was invited to Olive's house, I think, on the first round, and she locked him in until he died and buried him next to his late wife, Lila. So yeah, that's what happened to Buzz. I don't know. I just thought that was something that Olive would do because she did have a want to invite him over, which she usually does. And, you know, all lives past. It is something she would do, so that's what happened. But yeah, back to these guys. I don't know if they would want to get married. They kind of just ended up together, like they were a thing in university, and then I didn't want to move back Miranda to the cap house, or the Goneril's cap house. So I moved her in with her partner, and then they ended up having a child, which, as I said, was an oopsie baby. It was an accident. It was a risky woohoo, but I'm happy that they had a little baby. And lastly, we have the Beaker household, which is not consisting of Cersei and Loki. It's Loki and Kaelin Langarek, which might be a bit of a surprise. Cersei left Loki for none other than Kristen Lost. We will see when we get to downtown. Yeah, Loki didn't really take that great. And then he met Kaelin, and they ended up having like 3 bolts of chemistry. So I was like, okay, well, I guess this is the new hot couple in town. They're not married yet, but I feel like they would want to. They have a daughter called Ceres, and I think Kaelin is pregnant again. So maybe we'll get an atom as well. We'll see. We can move on to Bluewater Village. Before we do, you might wonder, where is AJ Loner? And unfortunately, he passed away on the first round. He died by fire, which was caused by a burglar, and it was really sad. I had a good idea for him, but the game said no. So here we have Bluewater Village, and I think the first one we should check out is none other than Mr. Landgrab, or the Landgrab family, where we can find Dina Caliente as well. Well, now known as Dina Landgrab, and they also got a set of twins. I mean, Dina and Nina are twins, I believe, or well, anyway. She got twins, and they are Malcolm V and Mimi Landgrab, and I think Mimi is one of my favorite born-in-game Sims. I can't wait for her to become a teen. I wanna dress her in, you know, cool punk or rock outfits. Give her that rebellious look that Mimi Landgrab from Bustin' Out. She has that kind of look, and that's the inspiration for her name, so, you know, wanna honor that. But it's really fun because Malcolm really looks like a mini Malcolm, and Mimi got her green skin from Dina's alien ancestry. So yeah, it's just a fun family. And Dina is enjoying the wealthy life, and she also got some enhancements, you can say. And actually, Malcolm, I mean, I think we all know he's kind of like a scummy guy, but his lifetime want is to become a criminal mastermind. So I'm probably gonna, well, you know, get him a job in the criminal career eventually. Perhaps I'll have to befriend Gordon King, you know, get some connections. But yeah, that's the land grabs. And then we have the Larson family, where we can find Kent as well. Kent Cap, but now he's also Kent Larson, which is sounding very Scandinavian. But yeah, so Jason and Kent got married, and they had a baby called Jordan, and Kent also got abducted and had Jupiter. And I think in this case, Kent is in the science career, so that's why they were able to have a biological child. And she's really cute. I mean, both are very cute. Can't wait to see how they end up looking. Next up, we have the Geek household, and here we can find Erin Baker, but she's now Erin Geek. They actually don't have great of chemistry. I think it's just one bolt, but I feel like maybe they don't really care about that. They just, you know, get along. Erin with her supernatural stuff, where she thinks she's a psychic and all that, and then Chester Geek with his geeky nerd interest. I feel like that goes hand in hand. When Chester got abducted and had Leia, and pretty much at the same time, Erin got pregnant. This was before they were married, actually, so they were kind of pregnant at the same time. And she got Casper, and Leia is inspired by the Star Wars series, and Casper is from Casper the Ghost, just to tie in their interests. like the nerdy, geeky, and the supernatural spirits and ghosts and stuff like that. So if they would have another child, I would try to stick with that kind of theme for the name. We have the Ramirez that are not much to say. I mean, they've grown in size, of course. Essa will soon join college. And then they also have Adam and Sophia. Sophia wasn't really planned for. She was another risky baby. I did want them to have at least one more child, so Adam was planned, but then Sophia was a late addition. But I think it's fine, but I think it's enough Ramirez children now. And then we have Florence here, who is kind of like the main villain of the town now because of what she did to Cassandra. I've actually made her house smaller. I removed the floral shop and bought the Just Flowers and More, the flower shop that was included with Bluewater Village because I didn't want her to have a home business. But yeah, she's currently on her own, minding her flowers and stuff. I think she really valued her business more than having a family. I think that's why she said no. She wasn't ready to settle down, and I think she might have thought that she would get too busy having to deal with the children. I guess she didn't want to take that responsibility because she wanted to, keep her business going. But she is currently seeing Melody Tinker, which I feel it's kind of toxic. I feel like she's kind of using her. Melody Tinker being a much younger sim than Florence. And I guess Florence is very influential and has power over her. I don't know. I'm just painting her as such a bad person, but that's kind of the idea I have of her right now. But yeah, we have the Tinker household here, and Melody has recently returned back from college. At college, she didn't really have any romantic prospects because there's not that many gay sims available, and Melody rolled as gay, so she was more focused on her studies. But they do have a son called Devin, but Wanda and Steven are getting up in age, so I think that will be it for them in terms of children. So they will just raise Devin, and they also bought the Inner Child Toys and Gift store, so the toy store, and they're running their business from there instead of having a home business as well, because I prefer having a business offlot instead of a home business. And then I think it's the last household. We have the Jaquette, and here you can find Gilbert Jaquette as well as Abhijit Cho. Gilbert's mother, who I forgot her name, she passed away early in the rounds because of the elder sickness mode I have. So I didn't really get to play her much, and I didn't want to have too many single household sims or single sims households, as I mentioned earlier. So I moved Abhijit in and made him into Gilbert's cousin. That's what I'm calling them. They're cousins now. But yeah, there's not too much to say about them. They're just there, I guess. So we can move on. We can go to downtown. So here we have downtown, and there's not that many families, as you can see. Up here we of course have the Triku family, and all of them are vampires. And they are such a hassle to maintain because they keep going outside in the daylight and get burned, and their moods drop drastically and all that. I think Nilicet here, she's died a couple of times, but she was rescued because I was pleading to the Grim Reaper. But sadly, Janicor, who is John Smith's wife, she did pass away. I let her die. I guess sounds kind of cruel, but I don't know. Not all Sims are saved, so that's why I let John start seeing Olive instead. But yeah, we have John Janelle Warren, who is also a warlock. He started out as just a warlock. Him and Kiernan were not vampires, but they rolled to become a vampire anyway. So they're all vampires in the end. But I did want to have some variety, so Warren is a evil warlock. His son Trickerith is also a warlock. He's currently at university with Vodwin as well. And then we have Nilicet and Kiernan. I made him into a werewolf originally, but then him, as well as all of his family members, rolled a want for him to be cured of lycanthropy. So I did that, and his daughter, Vodwin, She was also a werewolf, but the same thing happened there, that I cured her because everyone wanted it to. So yeah, that's the Triku. They are, I guess, kind of a fun change of pace, even though they're kind of annoying to like maintain, but at least it's contained within this family I'll have to deal with. But I think it's fun with some kind of type of flair. But yeah, that's the Triku family. And then we have the Salami family, which is Cersei and Kristen, along with their child Hera, who I think will be their only child. And they also have a cat called Scout. And I guess there's not too much to say about them. They're living their lives downtown. I really like this couple, even though, I mean, it might not be the best. You know, Cersei is not the best sim, but I think it's fun still. It's a unusual coupling, I would say. And they're not married, but if they would get married, I think I would like put their names together, so it would be Salamis Lost or something like that, because I want to keep both of their names, since there are no other sim in town that are called this. And then we have Gordon King, who is living here by himself in the, well, I guess lower end of town. And I mean, not much is going on with him, besides that he's kind of like Tybalt Cap's side thing. As I mentioned, Tybalt is together with Raynell and they have a child together, but he is actually bisexual, and I feel like he's kind of suppressing that. He's not able to express himself fully, but he's kind of seeing Gordon on the side in secret. He ended up on a blind date with Gordon King. Gordon brought some friend home from work and he asked if he wanted to go on a blind date, and it ended up being Tybalt. Yeah, that's what's happening to Gordon. Not much else, but as I mentioned, I might get him to know Malcolm a bit and like help, and that way kind of, you know, make Malcolm get into more of the criminal side of things. But that's pretty much it that I have to talk about for downtown. So we can go to university, which would be the end of this video. We have our current residents in Académie Latour. First generation, you know, the original teens were in SimState University. Now I am in Académie Latour, and then when the next round of university kids comes, they will be in La Fiesta Tech. So here we have the two households that I'm currently playing. One is full, that's why there's a second one. But we have a mix of sims. We have Vodvin and Fricorith Triku that I mentioned. And then we also have Tosha Go, who was the girlfriend of Fricorith when they were teens. At the moment, Fricorith is seeing Jill Smith, who I would prefer them to pair up with. So Tosha will probably end up becoming a townie again when she finished college. Sad to say, but I don't want to play her as a single sim. And then we have Buck Grant, who is together with Lucy Burb. They recently got engaged, so they will probably get married and start a family together when they're done with school. And we have Alexander, who is together with Sophie Miguel. And then we have Halcap, who is together with Meadow Thayer. And then we have the second household. Here we can see them in the full family view. So we have Jill Smith, who is seeing Fricorith, as I mentioned, and I think they're a very nice couple. I also added these green skin birthmarks, and I gave her alien eyes to, you know, further lean on the fact that she is half alien. And then we have Beatrice and Benedict Monty. Not too much to say about them. Beatrice currently doesn't have any romantic prospect. She's mostly focusing on her studies. And Benedict, he does have chemistry with the cheerleader, who I might couple him up with. He also has chemistry with Cooper, who is the oldest adoptive son. But he's also interested in Bottom, who I'm currently pursuing him with. So I don't know, there might be some drama between there, but who knows. And then Lucy, as I mentioned, is engaged to Buck. She was actually the one proposing. They went on a date in Veronaville, and she proposed. Cooper, he's here, and he is seeing Bottom. And Bottom she's chilling, she's here. But that's pretty much all I have to say. As I said, if you want me to go more in depth with any family, let me know. I can make a second video about that and talk about them. Probably I could also probably go into the actual household and show you what's going on. But yeah, that was all I wanted to say and show for today. I might do an updated video if I get any further with this neighborhood, so stay tuned for that. Lastly, I just wanted to quickly mention how I've been playing this Uberhood and what made it stick to me, because I've tried an Uberhood several times before, but I've just not been able to keep going. But I've been using this wheel. I just decide what neighborhood I should play in for this, like when I finish a house and where to go next. So I just spin the wheel and I go to whatever neighborhood it lands on. So I would then go to university, and when I go to university, I would just pick a household that I like or that I feel like playing at the moment. So I don't, stick to spreadsheets and have a strict order of households to go through. I just kind of go with the flow and play the households I feel like playing at the moment, which has helped me just enjoy the game more. Just play the game as you feel like, don't be restricted to stuff, and play out the households as you feel. I do like to let the game decide for me, and then I kind of build upon that. That's the way I play the game recently, and that's made it a lot more fun for me. So I just wanted to add that at the end. But yeah, thank you again for watching. See you!